There we go. Welcome into the Cafe Nightly Show. Today is the 16th of January, 2024. It happens to be Tuesday, and it happens to be a big day in Upland. We'll get into some details here. Obviously, I am your host, the Goldsmith, and do want to get a couple things out there first and foremost. And of course, that is that we have finally get a little bit of titration, a little better titration on totems. I do have a tool that, again, was given to me about 5 minutes ago. I heard about it. I saw it. Actually took a look at it, so do want to put out that it does exist. Not direct promotion. If someone has another tool that does the same thing, go right ahead, let people know. I'd love to let people know what's out there. But we kind of got a handle on the numbers are all out there for totems now. Thank you, Upland, for the challenge. Thank you for a couple developers for putting out the tools to let everyone know how to take care of your totem in the best way. So we'll get into that. And of course, the big announcement of the day, no questions asked, is the expansion of Tokyo. We'll get into some of the specifics here of Manioto City, some of the specifics of the way this is actually rolling out, some new dynamics that have been developing over the last couple releases, some of the new dynamics that we have seen Upland kind of expand on. So there's things that have never existed in a previous city release, previous expansion that we will see in the Manioto release. So we'll get into that. But also just the basics of the when, the where, the timing, how to get there to how to be there. So we'll get into all of that. And of course, with that announcement, there are a couple things, there are a couple surprises that Upland kind of snuck in there. Hey, KO Ninja, good to see you. It is exciting to see so the way Upland is evolving some of this. So we'll get into some of the evolution, of course, the dates, the times, and some takeaway here, because there are some things that are being done a little differently that we can kind of kind of have feelings for one way or the other, but it is important to know what they are and how this is running. So before we get anything started, like always, it is not financial advice, not game strategy advice. I will give you stuff. I will give you strategies that exist out there, not telling you what to do. But of course, not representing the game or the team of Upland. Anything I say is for me and myself as far as opinion. I try to give out the facts as much as possible. And where I have some context, where I have some direct opinion, try to let people know what that is and that exists. But of course, any guests who we do have on, their opinions are theirs and theirs alone as well. They don't represent myself, the Goldsmith, the Cafe Nightly Show, or the Upland team or the game of Upland. And of course, we're not having a guest tonight, but I do want to preface the guest thing, because tomorrow being Wednesday the 17th, in honor of the fact that we have a city expansion, in honor of the fact that we've got a vanilla, we have a vanilla city expansion. We're not going to see our collections revealed up front. We are going to have this collection speculation. I'm going to have Banana on tomorrow, like we often do before a city release, so we can talk about the city or the expanded area. We can talk about some of the areas that may be of note. Obviously, he does his own thing for collection speculation, so we don't get into all the details, but we do get people a starting point to look at for areas where they might want to be, and how to get ready for that mint. And of course, just preparing people who haven't gone through a lot of mints what to expect at that release. Getting things kicked off here tonight, the one big announcement, obviously, on the side of Upland. We'll get into that tool here in a bit, but get into the meat and potatoes of the day. Obviously, the announcement coming from Upland, getting that popped up here, and that is Manioto City as the expansion for Tokyo. Get that popped up so we can take a look at it. Obviously, whenever we get these announcements, it's going to be in Discord. It's going to be in the game of Upland. And then there's a calendar view in Upland. You should always see that pop up in the calendar view as well. So any of those three places should be a good place to see it. And if you are checking your messages in game every day, there's a little number in the lower right-hand corner or lower left-hand corner as you open up your messages. You will see in there, when you do have a number, you'll see that there is a new message. And generally, they'll always pop up there when there's a big announcement as well. So any of those 4 places should be a good place to find it. But I'm looking in my Discord because that's where I usually get started. You can never have too much of a good thing. Again, these are Upland's official words. We'll let them say it. And that's why we're back to Tokyo to expand into Minoto City. However, that's not all. We're bringing a whole range of exciting events and sales around this expansion for you to get involved in. Quick aside on that, obviously, we do know that this is something that Upland has started to build a little bit around when we have a new city. Some of the sales that are going around the city, obviously, you're going to have that Block Explorer sale. We'll get into how that works. They now have some more details here with that incorporating meta ventures as we are starting to see that become a pattern. We'll get into a burn mechanic. So there's a lot here. And then we'll get into some prizes along the way. Again, Upland sweetening things at least a little bit on every mint, every new city release, every expansion. That's going to be something we very much expect to see moving forward. We expect to see some type of contest in some way, shape, or form, and reason for people to go and try to mint up front. And the sweetener that we kind of got from Miami that I expect to happen moving forward is some level of personalization or individualization of a city. If you're going to mint the city in this 1 week, there's a way to capture your activity in it that's not going to exist in the future. And we'll get into the specifics of how Upland's done it this time around. Fancy owning a terminal? Here again, here's a sweetener. You could be in for that chance. Can't get enough of exclusive burn events. Again, they are going to be part of this event. They've got you covered. Just here for flipping some hot properties, check. Again, maybe Upland's get a little promotional. Those quick flips, again, in speculation areas, definitely happen. When we have a city that doesn't all mint out or an expansion that doesn't all mint out, Upland's already said they don't expect these areas to all mint out. They want to put more properties on the market than they think that the market is asking for in order to have the opportunity for people to mint later. Well, that means that you don't have those quick flips. Generally, people buy into the high speculation, the small areas, the areas that people suspect to have higher utility, areas that are going to be tight on the water or tight into a business area that they think there's going to be concentrations of business. For sure, might be quick flips. But again, the idea of those quick hot flips, not something that's as inbuilt into these city releases as it used to be. Utility obviously kind of creeping its way up for why people are minting certain properties. Here's a little information about how the release will look. First and foremost, 16,000 properties plus or minus. Total expansion neighborhoods is going to be 30 expansion neighborhoods. 4 new collections are going to be added to Tokyo. And again, these are obviously all going to be new collections, all being part of the Noto area. Price. This is cool. This is new. This is not always being given. The lowest property price is going to be 17,393 UPX. That's it. That's the lowest you're going to get. There's not going to be a 3,000 UPX property. There's not going to be a 7,000 UPX property. 17,393 UPX. Is it worth traveling to Tokyo if you have 16,000 UPX and you want to mint a property? Well, probably not, unless you're going to buy some UPX. And there's a reason to buy some UPX that Upland's kind of built in here. So we'll get into what that looks like. The date on the when that sale is, does it line up? We'll get into that as well. But again, unless you're going to be buying some UPX, if you don't have 16,000, 17,000 UPX right now, if you're not going to collect dividends over the next 2 days to increase that amount, you may not want to travel to Tokyo. It may not be worth it for you. High price, 818,000 UPX. Again, that means we don't have a property over a million UPX. That might be telling us something about property cut size. But what we do see here with an average price of 64,152 UPX, knowing that a lot of these properties are smaller, your takeaway is these are expensive properties. Upland did put out, or X1 did put out during the day today, a little bit of a video that's kind of a primer, goes over some of these details, not all of them. And the key thing that was put in there clearly is this is an expensive area. Tokyo is expensive. Minoto City is expensive. And of course, if you want to get into the area, you're going to have to pay the UPX per UP2 price that is somewhat tied to the real world. Definitely something that we definitely something that we do see Upland continue to try to do is have that tie-in with the real world. And we'll continue to see expensive cities be expensive in Upland. Here's what we're looking at. There are two additional landmarks added. Tokyo Tower and the National Art Center will be added as future landmarks. We haven't seen a lot of these landmark sales recently. I'm sure we'll be getting some more kicked up here in the near future. That's just a glimpse of what's offered. We got to get into a little more detail here. And of course, the when does it all happen? The release is Thursday, the 18th of January, 9 a.m. PT. And we're going to have to dig in here for the more details, dig in to see all the bits and pieces, and let's get there. Tokyo expansion. We can see this first bit already. January 18th, that is this coming Thursday, 9 a.m. PT, is the date. Everything else in this top section right here, we already went over. It says there is going to be a very limited quantity of FSA properties. Keep in mind, if we have a minimum price of $17,000, we're not going to have very many FSA properties, and they're not going to be cheap. They're not going to be a 5,000 UPX FSA property. Expansion details. To help you gear up for the exciting Tokyo expansion, we have provided a map and some key information below. Please review all the details thoroughly to ensure you're fully prepared for this new venture and ready to dive into the expansion. Here's a key note. Tokyo is currently only partially open. We are expanding the city. It does, however, continue to affect the send fees as well as the treasure hunting tiers. So we're still in that reduced tiering system right now. The treasure hunt will remain at tier 3 after the expansion, as it's not yet met the requisite for the upgrade to go up to a tier 2. Tokyo expansion information. There's going to be 16,000 properties, like we said, 30 neighborhoods, 4 total collections, 17,393 low price, 18,000 UPX high price, 64,152 UPX being the average price per property. We know what to expect, or a little bit of guidelines there. Added landmarks, we went over those already. Here's the map. Let's take a look. For the expansion, we're unveiling 30 dynamic neighborhoods in the Minato City area. Take a look at the updated map. You'll see the expansion area highlighted in blue. We can see that. These areas these vibrant new neighborhoods are the latest expansion, enriching Upland's digital world like never before. So we can see some new properties down here. What we see with these neighborhoods is we've got some water, we got some coastal stuff, and B is we'll get into more details tomorrow with some of the cultural implications with some of the areas that are being put out with Minato City. Keep in mind, we know how large Tokyo is. This is going to be an expansion of what we have now. And again, with 30 neighborhoods, we have opportunities for some diversity, different UPX per UP2 in different areas, and different cultural significance of one area versus another. And of course, collections are going to play a role there. We know that it's been very much something that people come to play for, is those collection areas. So with 4 new collections, there might be some neighborhoods, there might be some streets. We don't know yet, but we'll get into some of that tomorrow for speculation. Launchpad properties. The Upland Bureau is minting 3 properties for players to use while positioning their block explorers before the big opening. Again, I like this. I like that people get to choose and set their drifts. I like that there's some variety. So if you have one area you want to go to rather than another, you can choose a launch property in an area that you want to be in. And again, people having different drifts, being able to start in advance, it gives people the opportunity to be where they want to be. It adds a little bit of variability because your drift is not going to be fully controlled by you. We know that block explorers take turns when they want to, but it adds that layer of strategy and ability to really use your strategy as opposed to just jumping out of a single point and getting lucky with your drift. The little more strategy plays in when there's 3 separate locations to set your drift from. After the event, these properties will remain in the hands of Upland Bureau, not being given out as prizes. But here's what's cool. These are going to transition into parking structures for future in-game vehicle transportation. We've talked about how important transportation and vehicles is going to be this quarter. Talked about it a couple times, and I'm looking forward to it. Here's our first drop that parking is a thing. People have talked about, speculated that parking is going to be important in the future. Obviously, Upland discussing parking structures um, raises a couple questions as far as how does that tie into private parking in the future? Where can people park? Can they park on their own properties? Do they have to park in parking structures? Can they only park in parking structures? Would they only park in parking structures if they have no place to park on their own properties? That those details all down the road. Obviously, Upland's putting that here, where they say future in-game vehicle transportation. Keep a lookout for more details on this innovative car transportation feature. Again, more details are coming. I can't tell you exactly how parking will work in the future, but Upland's thinking about it, which means it's going to exist. It's not going to be a matter of your car poofs in and then you poof out of it and you start floating around your Block Explorer. Obviously, that's how they're going to regulate or maintain the difference between car travel and your Block Explorer floating. At this time, it seems like you're going to park your car and then you're going to explore or travel in the city without that car. That sounds like what's going to be happening here in the immediate future. The Launchpad properties are as follows: for Chome 12-1 Shirokane, and that is going to be in Minto City. We have 5 Chome 9-11 in Mita, and that's in obviously Minto City. And then 1 Chome 250, and that is in Shirakande, and that is in Minnesota City as well. With the collection reveal here, obviously collection reveal is a week out like we had in the past. So Thursday, January 25th at 9 a.m. PT's collection reveal. Key things on the collection reveal, as always. The collections obviously are recorded ahead of time. They are written to the blockchain. You can go and verify it once they release the key, essentially saying they don't make the decision based on who buys what properties. The decisions are made ahead. People do what they're going to do. And then you either made a good decision based on your research, or you got lucky, you threw the dart at the right place on the dartboard. Whatever the case is, it's something that you did without that knowledge, even though that knowledge was known by Upland at the time. So that definitely is a matter of fairness that's still built in there, but also a matter of competition because people are doing their research and trying to get to the same conclusion in many cases. It may be safer to temporarily remove properties from the market when we get close to the 25th at 9 a.m. PT. Go figure. If you do not take it off the market, you list the property at just above floor. It's sitting on the floor because nobody knows its value, and now it hits a rare. It's gone, and you sold it at floor for the city. So that's not something you want to do. We know how, or people who have been in the game for a while, I should say, are pretty familiar with how collection reveals work and how property sales happen afterwards. We will review it next week, but big thing is take it seriously. People have made some pretty big mistakes just by being complacent. The collection reveal is a great opportunity to get a property that you currently own become more valuable. But it can, having 3 properties in a collection, 4 properties in a collection, whatever the collection requirement is, can boost the earnings. And people just like it. People like collecting. People like getting those little chips. They like getting a notification of how many properties they own, or how many collections they own. And hey, it is a flip. When Upland talks about the flip, that's one of the big flips that exists, happening to hit that collection. So definitely keep that in mind as you are minting properties. Do your research in advance, and ultimately keep that in mind. But continue to mint for your own reasons. Important to note, all collections in this city expansion have already been tokenized. Like I said, they will remain unmodified if you mint them. If a property is not minted before the collection reveal and it happens to hit collection, it will be modified by a modifier depending on what collection value is given. Keep that in mind. Sometimes there's opportunities to buy those properties. Sometimes they're a lot more expensive if you don't mint it before. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But ultimately, people do a halfway decent job speculating in areas. Some of the high speculation collection areas do get minted out as well. So keep that in mind as well. With the notes here, obviously, on the collection reveal schedule, dates, times ideas here. 8:55 p.m. or sorry, 8:55 a.m. PT. Properties that are going to hit collection that are unminted, they get locked. They get locked so that they can get repriced, and obviously they're locked before the collection reveal. So that race happens after the collection reveal. Once the collection reveal happens at 9 a.m. PT, everyone's going to get the verification of the collection key. They're going to know what's going on. People are going to be able to add to the collections. People are going to make a mad dash and race to buy lowest price in those collection areas if they were left on the market. Like I said, you don't want to be the one to lose. A lot of people go in there with the opportunity or with the chance to buy those if they got left in the market. So that will happen relatively quickly. And then, of course, there will be posts ahead of time if things are running late, or just reminders that, hey, this is going to happen at 9 MPT. Expect to see that in Discord. Expect to see that in the game of Upland. Like I said, the unminted properties, they're going to get modified in price based on what type of collection they hit. And then around 9:30 a.m. PT, we're going to have those go back on the market again at those higher prices. Again, the 25th of January, 9 a.m. PT. Let's get into some of the specifics and the specials here. So Tuesday, the 16th of January, 8 a.m. PT, registration opened for this sale. This sale is going to happen tomorrow, Wednesday the 17th of January at 9 a.m. PT for this Block Explorer sale. Here's what they did this time. Upland's been a little more cognizant of this, of not putting out a million Block Explorers. When they put out Block Explorers, put them in smaller editions, maybe putting out different editions that sit next to each other, sell in the same sale, but each of the Block Explorers having a limited number. Ultimately, there's more Block Explorers now than there was 2 years ago. That kind of effect has affected the market very much so. The need for Block Explorers hasn't yet pushed with utility, but ultimately putting smaller batches of Block Explorers, especially with a utility like a burn, that increases the people's interest in them and to some case the resale value. So we'll get into what they put out here. But again, the low volume is one thing they did right this time, and they're going to continue on with here. So the way they're doing this sale is the sweeteners model. We've done this before or for years, I should say, where you're buying UPX, you're paying a USD price, you're also getting a Block Explorer. They call that as the Block Explorer the sweetener. You're ultimately just buying the UPX at 1,000 to 1 on a USD. So $30 is going to buy you 30,000 UPX. You also get a Block Explorer. And each of these Block Explorers, when we take a look at them, there are 50 of each of those Block Explorers. So pretty limited Block Explorers, or very, very rare Block Explorers. And they are going to have utility here with the burn. So we'll get into that detail. So for full details, we're going to take a look down here below. $30 USD. 50 each of 6 different Block Explorers gives us a total of 300 total Block Explorers. Registration begins Tuesday, January 16th at 8 a.m. PT. The sale starts Wednesday, January 17th, 9 a.m. PT. Again, for me, that's tomorrow. And 9 a.m. PT is going to be in just over 12 hours. So keep that in mind, and we'll be taking a look at all of these Block Explorers. Again, every single one of these we look at is purchased for $30, or the UPX is purchased for $30. You get the 30,000 UPX. You also get this Block Explorer. This one is the Kishin Mask. Here is the Kitsune Mask Block Explorer. There's a Kabuki. There we go. Kabuki Mask here. We have the Hanya is here. The Okame is here. This one I'm gonna buff. The Dakakutan, I believe, mask is here. And then if we go down here, of course, we mentioned that there is a burn mechanism. And of course, to have a burn, you have to have typically different grades of what's being burnt. So here's some fodder. A Tokyo special for Block Explorer shop owners. Here's an extra treat. Exclusive for our Block Explorer shop owners, we're launching the Tokyo exclusive Block Explorer shop owner sale. Eligible shop owners effective January 25th, 9 a.m. PT. So do the math. That's a week. A little over a week out. Keep in mind something key here, important to note. Block Explorer shops and other meta ventures are being approved relatively quickly. No guarantees, but I know a lot of people, anecdotally, in the recent past, who've gotten their meta ventures approved within a couple days. Math says If you really want a Block Explorer shop and you apply for one today, you might just get one. So keep that in mind. Eligible Block Explorer shop owners active on January 25th at 9 a.m. PT and in good standing with their venture dues at the time can grab an exclusive bundle for their store. Each bundle contains 3 Japan-themed Block Explorers. They're chosen at random. Again, you're not going to guarantee what you're going to get. And these are a fodder Block Explorer, so people will be burning these for sure. Additionally, players will have the opportunity to take advantage of the burn mechanic with these Explorers. Check out the information below to fully capitalize on this chance. These packages are $9, $8.99. There are 200 total bundles available, 3 BEs per bundle. Registration starts January 25th at 8 a.m. PT. The sale starts January 26th at 9 a.m. PT. Note here, there are well over 500, or there are 500 plus Block Explorer shops right now. There are 200 of these bundles. Math says not every Block Explorer shop can get a bundle. However, maybe not every Block Explorer shop is going to actively be trying to purchase these, but we will see how this sale works out. Again, here are the Block Explorers. We don't have any cool names for them, it looks like, but we can see what they are. So Nunchaku here, we got a fan. Oh, it's not a shuriken, but it is a. I'm gonna have a hard time with that dagger blade. What the correct name there is for you? We've got a koi. And I'm gonna have a hard time with the blades here with the technical name here, and then of course I've got a bonsai right here. The Tokyo Samurai Block Explorer burn. Again, this brings in, if we're gonna, Upland's gonna be a little bit exaggerated with the language. Exhilarating Block Explorer burn event. Players can burn a mix of their Japan-themed Block Explorers to transform them into an exclusive limited edition Samurai Block Explorer. For details on how to participate in this thrilling activity, refer to the instructions below. So as we're looking at these, I do like to say one thing about these burns. Keep in mind that what is left on the fodder, or what is left on the sweeteners once you burn, there could be fewer of the sweeteners than there are of the resultant burn Block Explorers. Rarity sometimes matters to the market, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes art matters. Sometimes provenance sneaks its way in, the story of how that Block Explorer fits into the overall game of Upland. What you had to do to get it matters sometimes, the original cost. So there's not one thing or another that's gonna make your Block Explorer worth what it's gonna be worth in the future. It's gonna all be a combination thereof. But just keep in mind that your choice to burn is your choice alone. But you do have a limited period of time to do so. BE Burn event starts January 26th at 9 a.m. PT. You have until February the 2nd at 9 a.m. PT to burn if you choose to do so. Here's the 5 Block Explorers you could get. You get the Kiro armor, you get the AO armor, you get the Akai armor, you get the Murasaki armor, and then there's the Midori right here. Boom, look at that. With the armor sets, obviously, you are burning one into the other. It looks like these appear to be randomized. Let's take a look. To engage the burn process, players will combine one mask. Again, these masks up here. One mask. And this is interesting here. So one from the sweetener sale, one weapon, and one Japan-themed item. So when we talk about Japan-themed item, these are Japan-themed items. These are weapons. Not hard the conclusion to come to, but here's what's interesting about it. Because it's randomized, because the Block Explorer sale, the Block Explorer shops, they're going to get a randomized amount. They might not get 3 weapons. They may not get 2 in 1. They might get 3 of one or the other. So it's going to encourage or may put people in a position where they may have to go to 2 Block Explorer shops. You can't just burn any combination of these 6. It has to be 1 weapon and 1 themed item. Keep that in mind. And at the same time, it kind of does encourage a lot of people to potentially visit more than 1 Block Explorer shop. And if a Block Explorer shop gets 1 weapon and 2 Japan-themed items, maybe that's a value proposition that people are going to go to 1 Block Explorer shop and buy both of those at the same time. Either the options are there, the potential is there for the market to or shops, anyways, to make the decision on how they price things. With this in mind, that's what the wholesale is. That's why the $9 They're calling it a wholesale site price because the shops themselves are going to set what the retail is when that does go to market, either in USD or OPIX. The BE burn event does start, like I said, on the 26th at 9 a.m. PT. So a quick turnaround on this sale here on the sweetener sale, but it does last for a week, so you have a little bit of time to build up OPIX, go and purchase, travel to the Block Explorer shops. You have to travel to the purchase, so you will have some time to do that. To encourage in-game burn process, players will combine again one mask, one weapon, one themed item, and they're going to get one of these 5 resultant Block Explorers from the burn event. Here's the note: the burn is the burn. There is not a safety net. Still no safety net. 1, 1, and 1. That's the formula. You have to do it. If you do the formula incorrectly, you get no reward. Any burned item is burned forever. It is gone. You're not getting it back. So keep that in mind. Make sure you are burning accurately. Maybe make sure you're following the instructions. 1 sweetener, 1 weapon, 1 Japan themed item. That's it. Make sure you get the formula right so you get the result if that's what you want to do. And again, you can hold on to these Block Explorers. They'll stay Block Explorers forever. If you don't burn them, they will continue to exist in the game of Upland after the burn event. If you do burn them, they're gone forever. Tokyo passes. We're leveling up city passes. Again, this is something they introduced with Miami. We'll get into what these passes look like. With the Tokyo expansion pass sale. Perfect for those. Wow. 2 pronunciations, 1 word. Perfect for those who can't attend the city release or simply want more of the Tokyo experience. The pass guarantees holders a property to mint in Tokyo following the collection reveal, with a 50% chance that does hit collection. Same thing as Miami. Here's something that's a little different. The new evolution. For the first time ever, 80% of the properties, again, some won't qualify. Most of them will. 80% will. 4 out of 5 of these properties in the pass sale that are reserved for pass holders will include the option to build a unique structure designed specifically for Tokyo and specific to pass holders. This is a fresh addition to the passes, allowing players to further personalize and evolve their selected properties. Again, what's interesting here is we've had a specific structures for specific cities. That's great. We're now having this little twist that you have to pay the little extra USD, get that pass, hold on to it, and then get randomized what property you get. There's no guarantee that you're going to get the 20,000 UPIX property. There's no guarantee if you want a more expensive property. There's no guarantee that that's what's going to get reserved for you. It's going to be randomized, and you may get a collection, you may not, and you may be able to build this structure right here. Wow, look at that. Or you may not. Again, there is a little bit of luck at hand. There's a little bit of chance, a little bit of a gamble you're taking. These passes will be tradable. There's going to be a snapshot. So that after the sale happens, there's going to be the opportunity for people to trade between each other. If somebody bought the pass, they rushed in, they bought the pass, we'll get into the price, buy the pass in USD, they can sell into UPIX at what do they want to sell for. Someone wasn't willing to pay the USD price, so they didn't get the opportunity to purchase. Now maybe they pay more for an UPIX. Again, free market, like we say. Those who get lucky in the randomized order when these reservation sales happen, they can take a profit off, and that's what we're going to see happen. Snapshot is going to be scheduled for January 26th. Holders at that date will be allocated a specific address in Tokyo expansion for minting, randomized, meaning that nobody knows what they're getting when they get that pass. The deadline to mint your property will be Monday, January 29th at 9 a.m. PT. It's important that we have this deadline, because if you don't mint by that deadline, they get unlocked, and then the public can come in and purchase those properties. It sounds like the same rule is going to apply. If the property gets, if those properties go into the general market, people go and buy those properties, they will have that potentially property. That property will potentially have the ability to build that structure, the locked structure for that property. Plus, they will be able to hold on to that pass as a memento. I haven't seen a lot of the Miami passes sell for high values after they had utility, but hey, It exists. It is an NFT. It does have a, mint number, so it is a limited NFT, and then people can trade them and sell them and do whatever they want after the fact. And it is a commemoration that you were part of the city mint. All right. Plus, as a memento of this historic event, players can keep their passes as a unique souvenir. See pricing and quantity below. Let's take a look. 1,000 passes, $4.99, the same as we had in Miami. That means 1,000 of the roughly 16,000 properties that will be available to mint are going to be reserved pass holders, giving us closer to 15,000 properties that will be available at the minting. Registration starts January 16th at 8 a.m. PT. Wow, look at this. We are inside that registration period already. Sale is going to be tomorrow, 17th at 9 a.m. PT. I've heard that time before. Block Explorers, passes, same time. Keep that in mind. Snapshot is Friday. Typo alert. Friday, January 26th at 9 a.m. PT. We're not going to go back in time. We're not going to wait till the end of the year. Friday, December 26th is not the date we're looking at. This is definitely January. This is definitely a little over a week out. Friday, January 26th, 9 a.m. PT. Let's tell Upland to get that fixed. And the mint period is going to be January 26th through 30th. That's when you can mint the properties that were reserved for pass holders, or pass holders at the time of snapshot, I should say. Tokyo Architecture Adventure. There's another structure. Take a look at this. Get ready for an exciting building spree in Tokyo. Same thing we saw in Miami. You're going to start the build of the city spree property. Again, they didn't use that language for Miami, but let's do it. The building spree property. You have to build it within a short period of time, and then never again can that structure be started. Starting on Friday, January 19th at 9 a.m. PT until Monday, January 26th at 9 a.m. PT. Those are your options to go and start and build this structure. Again, I do want to to point out, obviously, that we actually have a misdirection here again. I don't think we're talking about Monday, January 26th. I think we're talking about Friday, January 26th. That gives us a full week. That makes more sense. Again, 2 typos here. Give the goldsmith a cookie. We'll let Upland know so they can clean that up when they have time to do so. Players have the golden opportunity to construct a new and unique building specifically handcrafted for Tokyo. And the best part, you can build it on any property in Tokyo. Not any property in Tokyo. Any property in Tokyo in which it fits. Keep that in mind. But not just in an expansion zone. So this new structure is going to go through all of Tokyo. Your properties you already own in Tokyo. If you don't own properties in the previous release portion of Tokyo, which had cheaper properties, if you already own a property, you don't own a property, and you buy a property here before the 26th at 9 a.m. PT, and you want to start this structure on there, guess what? You can. So maybe that's a little bit of incentive for people to go and look at properties that are for sale in Tokyo, in different areas that, again, were minted previously. Already in some areas already minted out, giving you the opportunity potentially to build this structure if you choose to do so, if it's going to fit. Mark your calendars and seize the chance to contribute to Upland's dynamic skyline. I saw a lot of these get started in Miami. I saw some of them get stopped because people pulled their spark to go do other things. But there's a lot of them in Miami. There's a lot that are being constructed. There's a lot that have been constructed. More dense than I've seen in many cities with any single property type or structure type. So I don't know. I don't know if it does enhance the character of the city, but it does change the character of the city to see so many of the same structure in that city and not to see it in any other. Maybe that helps tell you what city you're in. If you see a snapshot, if someone takes a picture of their map assets on their factory and you see this structure in the background, maybe you know that it's in Tokyo. I don't know, but it is going to be part of the future of Upland, because when we built the structures are meant to stay there in the game long term. Again, mark your calendars, be ready, and know the difference between a Monday and a Friday. Again, Friday to Friday looks like the official dates here. 19th at 9 a.m. PT to the 26th at 9 a.m. PT is that construction window. It doesn't have to get finished, but does have to get started. Now, the sweet spot. Tokyo Terminal given away in gratitude of everyone participating in the Tokyo expansion. We are giving away. Very special. One lucky winner, only one, but very lucky winner will win a coveted airport terminal. It is an international airport terminal flying out of Tokyo. You got to go to one of those international airport terminals, so they will be well used. To every property you for every property you mint in the Minoto City Tokyo expansion, including those minted by property pass owners. So again, both again before the cutoff, you'll receive one entry into this exclusive giveaway. So you mint 15 properties. Again, mint, not buy in the secondary. You mint 15 properties, you're going to get 15 entries. Additionally, those who earn any of the exclusive Mint Master badges, we can get into the details there. That's why it's blue, so you can click on it and see more details, will be awarded an extra 25 entries. Let's go back and look. This is our third Mint Masters. This is only our second Mint Masters that will be happening when people know it's happening. The first Mint Masters in the expansion of London, nobody knew it was happening when it was happening, so keep that in mind. But Miami was the first time that people actually could mint differently to try to get the Mint Masters. This is your chance to become the proud owner of a Tokyo terminal. It's a big prize. You could be paying $1,600 and change if you want to buy one in USD. Or you could mint a few properties in Tokyo at potentially a 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 UPX property. And that single minted property could be your ticket, to win an airport. And of course, winning that airport terminal, you could increase your chances by minting more properties. That's kind of the game. That's the way Upland has said it. You can't guarantee yourself by buying every property except for 6, because if you buy every property except for 6, there's still a chance that somebody else wins. But again, you can increase the number of tickets you have in that pool, the number of tokens you have in the cup to be drawn from for that chance to be that one person who does win the airport terminal. So this is a big deal. Again, the big deal on this is that Upland is evolving city expansions. They're evolving city releases. I think they had to. We're adding a few new dynamics. We're going to have not just a Block Explorer sale. There's going to be a Block Explorer sale with a burn event. I expect it to happen again and again. I expect Uplands to sweeten in some way, shape, or form, give a prize out there anytime they do an expansion. Every time they do a city release, I expect there to be some contest that says mint during this period of time, you get an incentive. That we're going to continue to see this hopefully long term. And again, I think that he's going to get people to mint properties they wouldn't ordinarily mint. I always caution people to know why you're minting the property, what you're going to do with it before you mint it. If you think you're going to flip it, know the realities of what your opportunities to flip look like. If you think you're the best collections speculator in the game, good luck to you. Maybe you get some great flips on collections. Maybe you think you got a collection in Upland, happen to throw the dart at a different part of the city, and you don't get the collection you thought you had. It's all about taking a little bit of risk, but also doing your own research. There is some information out there. We'll talk tomorrow with Banana to talk and speculate about different areas of the city. But of course, it is on you to make those decisions that work best for you. Again, Upland is putting out a burn mechanic. They're highlighting right here. I've made this joke a few times, is let's look what Upland is highlighting. But look what they highlighted. Burn mechanic, Tokyo Pass, terminal giveaway, preparations for car transport. They highlighted the right things here. I'm excited. I like that. Let's see what else they highlighted. First city expansion of 2024. That's technically correct. I like that. Thrilling pace. Preview of excitement utility. I like the fact that they are highlighting the preview of utility with parking. That's big. Evolution, you didn't need to highlight it, but they did some good highlighting here. They got some good things. They got the dates here. They got this extra 25 entries. I did a much better job highlighting things here. And here at the end, again, some of the big takeaways for me are right there in an easy place for me to see them. The preparation for transport is huge. The idea that Upland is putting out parking garages, that is news. That was speculated. That was a question. People have wanted to know for the longest time, where will our cars go once we have them? And here's your answer. We actually are going to be talking about going ahead and parking, and that it is going to be a part of the game of Upland. And maybe there'll be private parking. Maybe there will be parking as a meta venture. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be just Upland's properties. But this is something that is a reality. It is an analog of the real world that Upland's going to integrate, and it does tell us that we are going to have some separation between using our car to travel between cities and then actually moving inside that city, at least for the meantime, as has been discussed before. But the mechanism, the way that there's a separation between the two, is explained. It's explained through the idea that it's going to be parking. So that's all exciting. That's all there. Tomorrow we will, like I said, talk more about the city and the areas. But for now, that's the announcement. That's how things are set up. Keep in mind, there's a number of events over the course of the next week. Keep in mind, Upland put some of the wrong days of the week in there for information. But the information's overall here. When we're talking about Upland giving people time, they're giving people a week in most of these cases, most of these cases are giving people a week as opposed to Friday into a Monday. Do keep in mind, do take a look at the dates as opposed to the days of the week, because I think those are more correct in this case. So for today, let's get on to the piece that I really want to share. This was shared with me, so I'm going to share it with you. And I'm going to put here that the interesting thing here, it's blockchain. So the interesting thing with blockchain is you can look at me and I can look at you. If I'm somebody like Boulder Magic, who's been very vocal with, hey, I've got people who are, I'm trying to feed this totem here, this totem there. I'm trying to have people babysit my totems. I'm maybe babysitting somebody else's. Maybe I'm using my totem to feed somebody else because they're going to feed when I'm sleeping. That's huge, but it's hard to communicate that. It's been hard for people to say, this is when my totem gets fed. This is the amount it gets fed. Well, they kind of got a little bit of a solution here. I'm looking, and again, you can see if you are following along, the address is myupland.info. Myupland.info is the website here, https:// you don't need to get that specific usually, but myupland.info is where you need to be. You get there. Again, this is just one site that does this. This is one site I know of that does it. If there's others, more power to them. If people want to share resources with each other, more power to them. Again, this happens to be the first one I'm looking at that does this in as good of a way as it does. Maybe some CSS can be put in here, make it pretty, play with the font, move stuff around. But the data's here. This is what's important. So I come over here to data on myupland.info, and I'm going to drop down here, and I'm going to go to something that's important here on where do I want to be? I'm going to go important over here. I'm going to go to data. There we go. I can go and look at a few different data options here. Go home again. I can come. We'll go home again. Go home again. We're going to see that we have the opportunity to look by user. This is important. User and then totems. I've got data tools where I can look, like I said, statistics. I can look at Upland as a whole. I can look and say what's going on in the game of Upland, what's going on in different areas. I can look at sends in different areas. These are new features that I expect to expand. But key thing here is user totems. Here we go. I can go here, look at user totems, and just for the sake of keeping things bright and shiny, here we go. Look at my own, so we're not having to look at other people's. But it's blockchain, so you can look and see what other people's are if you're going to help them out. If you are gonna quid pro quo, if you're working back and forth, if you're feeding theirs while they feed yours, you can make it really easy. I happen to have 7 totems right now. These are my 7 totems. I can see what these scores are supposed to with rarity. Again, the rarity scores that were applied, don't take them to mean one thing or the other. Ultimately, they have some scales that were set in a certain way, but we'll get some more details here because those rarities meant one thing, but the actual realities of the stats weren't built into those rarity scorings. Here's what is built into the actual specifics here. I can see a quick guide here. This is my wolf. It happens to be painted, happens to be red. It is gigantic in size. It has a hexagonal base. What that means is my feed interval. I have to feed it every 30 hours. My feed amount is 62.5 protum, 62.5 protum. My feed total is 1,500 protum. That's the amount of protum. If I feed the ideal amount throughout the entire cycle, that's how much I feed through. And I can kind of see that there's a scale here. Had I had a different style, if I had fluid, for example, it would be a larger overall feed. If I had an elegant, it would be a lower overall feed over the course. And I've talked about this before, and people have, questioned how do you know what the optimum feed is? The optimum feed is what your total feed over the course of the month is, which is right here. Fluid, elegant, there's your scale, and you divide that by your frequency. And essentially the number of individual intervals in the month. So if I am going to be an orange, or I'm going to be a red, or I'm going to be a blue, I'm going to have a different number of frequencies in the month, and I would take that number of frequencies and I divide it by my number right here for my total protum for the input for the month, and that's it. It's that simple. People have questions how it's done, but that is how it's done. And with that math, 62.5, 62.5 protum is my optimal feed. I don't have to guess anymore, which means I'm going to say 63. I'm going to round up. 62.5 protum is going to be my optimum feed. 1,500 protum over the course of the month. And I can see that I personally activated this on January the 14th. That was towards the end of the activation period. I was waiting to get a little more understanding of what was going on. And I can see that my life cycle is expected to end at 212. The reason why I say expected to end, because it can get modified. It can get modified based on penalties. So keep that in mind. But as of right now, it's going to end 212 at 2:58:22. Keep in mind, these times are not local to me. These times are GMT. That means I've got to do some math to figure them out. I happen to be in the East Coast US. That's a 5-hour time zone differential. So I can adjust those for myself, and I will have to do so. But you have to do so as well. So it is easy enough for me to see that the next feed I'm going to have, the sweet spot, the feeding sweet spot, the next feeding sweet spot is going to be tomorrow for me, the 17th at 23:58. That is 11:58:22 GMT time. I adjust that to my own time zone, keeping in mind that I am west of GMT. So I will actually be subtracting time. Yeah, I'll be subtracting time from that time to get to my time zone. Go ahead and use a time zone converter and make it easy for yourself. And poof, there we go. Magic. It's done. These X's in the future tell me that I've got a bunch of feedings I've got to do. If I don't do them, I don't get the reward. If I do them, I will get my reward. This tells me how much I spent previously. Look at this. I was so dumb. I didn't know the right amount to feed my totem. Now I do. 55 was pretty close. It's close enough that when I feed at 55, it's going to say successfully fed. It's not going to say the hint of feed more next time. We talked about this idea that it is a little bit of a target. And if you get anywhere in the target, Upland says, okay, you got in the target. It doesn't mean that you hit the optimal. So the optimal, like I said, is 62. I'm going to feed a little more than I've been feeding in the past, and I'm going to get a better percent yield. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to follow my times in the future. I'm going to get a better accuracy on the time. I'm going to get a better percent yield. Very much looking forward to this. Again, if anyone has another tool and you want to use that tool, go ahead and do so. With these community tools, these are community developed. The accuracy is not guaranteed. These accuracy, like I said, what I'm seeing here seems to line up exactly what I've seen so far. It seems to line up with some of the other information I've seen other places. So grain of salt, it is community developed. If there are errors, obviously they are the product of the developer. Keep that in mind. It's not obviously something that Upland's putting out, but they are drawing from the blockchain. Those tend to be fairly accurate. Tools derived from the blockchain. Sometimes they can be errors, but as of right now, keep your eyes on your own results. Make sure everything lines up. Make sure everything's working. But this is a great tool. The data so far seems to be correct. I haven't tested everything on it, so do keep that in mind. But it is just another resource that's out there for you to take a look at and use as you are trying to get things figured out on your side. Jumping back into the comments, I do see We had a couple things happen here. There you are, Uplando. You didn't make it in. You did say hi to Kenny, so I did see that you were there. And with no mic, you couldn't say anything. Japanese reads phonetically. Yeah, it does. My phonetics are my phonetics, though, God. So I read the best I can with the phonetics and try to make it work. Hooked on phonics did not work for me. You learn from reading, God, and you get what you get. What else are we looking at here? Yes, you can change the time zone. Oh, if you go into the settings, you can change the time zone. King Cody, you are a genius. So if we go back to my Upland info, I jumped away from it, but you didn't. My Upland.info, I can go into settings up here on the drop in here. Wow. Oh my gosh. You can fit your time zone in here. Oh, okay. UTC GMT -6. Dallas, Texas happens to be Central Time in the U.S. And it's -6 GMT. I am East Coast time, so I'm -5 GMT. That is incredible. Again, go if you don't know what your time zone converter is, you don't know what your time is, what negative GPT you are, or positive GMT you are. Go and figure it out. And I did say GPT instead of GMT, so I'm sure someone will catch that. But go and figure that out, what you are, and then of course now you can update your times. And if I go back over to my user, I go back to totems, I go back to me. In theory, and that was fast, by the way. That did load very quickly here. And I go back over here to me. That should update if I got lucky. By George, look at that. Time zone updated just for me. Thank you, King Cody. That was easy. That was perfect. And Levin, if GMT is your time zone, then you don't have to use a plus or minus. You are right golden the way you are. So I do want to share when we do have these tools. I do always put out, again, if it's community developed, I cannot say the accuracy. It is not put out by Upland. Obviously, Upland does not guarantee the accuracy of community developed tools. The community developers do their best to do these products, to put these out. And of course, they are often supported in one way or the other. You will see sometimes they put out a donation link. Sometimes they have advertising. Sometimes there is some product that they have built in. But ultimately, if it is there, use it for your own purposes. Do your math, do your own math, try to verify its effectiveness and efficacy. But if it helps you, I'm glad those tools are out there. I'm glad people are developing them. And when we find them to help Upland players, we do try to promote them so people can, again, A, venerate the people who put these tools out, and then B, be more successful in Upland. Enjoy yourself. Totems, I don't think were meant to frustrate us. I think Upland tried to build the gamification aspect. I think Upland wanted people to figure it out. We figured it out. Someone has. Makes it easier for all of us. A couple people just have, I should say. It's not just one or the other, but a couple people have. And then now we can all do things more easily with our totems. And again, to those who develop these tools, to those who put the time in and the effort, thank you. For first and foremost, and secondly, keep doing it. We want to see these happen. We want to see these come up. Here we go. BE Battle, a location for you to jump in. There's a direct send UPX. I don't know with the efficacy with Upland if they're keeping track of things that aren't going on right here. There's a racetrack here. All this stuff here. This is UPN, the UPX. Or wow, I apologize. Upland Spark Exchange or Buy Me Coffee. So here's all these places to jump in and connect here, or jump in and support. So again, these are one of those things that we continue to see this happen. We continue to see people put out tools, and more power to you if you're putting those tools out, and keep doing so. Thank you so much to those who are putting the effort in. And of course, as we do move through with totems, I think we've got things figured out. But I do want to put one thing out there. And that one thing is totems are going to run this way for this cycle. Cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4, cycle 5. They may run different. So we may have to reinvent the wheel. Someone may have to figure out the code again and put it out to all of us. But if they did it once, they can do it again. Welcome to the community. I'm glad we have one here in Upland, and we're going to continue to try to support each other as much as possible, having fun if we can. And of course, I want to have fun as much as I can. So thank you, everyone, for joining in tonight. Tomorrow, we'll be talking with the one and only human simulation, aka Banana. We'll be talking about the expansion to Vanilla City in Tokyo. We'll be working through the next steps of getting ready for a vanilla release, getting ready for new areas, new parts of Tokyo, and of course, what you can do to get ready, and a little bit of speculation. Banana does his own thing. He definitely goes deeper into the speculation. We'll only have a little time to work on it, but it may be an opportunity to look at and consider where you may want to aim when you go to Mint in the city. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, 7 p.m. PT. Do get started a little late. Not in the plaza. If you're in the plaza tonight, hi. But not in the plaza tomorrow night, but we'll be on YouTube. We'll be here in the cafe, of course, as well as cafe in Upland's Discord. Thank you, everyone, for joining along. Thanks for being here. We're recorded, so if you do want to go back and see the show, it will be on YouTube here within 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Do take care. And, of course, if you are in the cafe, the mics are going to be unmuted, and the floor is yours.